Okay, hello and welcome back to the Football Rundown. We should all be able to hear me okay now. Obviously live with the pre-match live as Stockport County take on Northampton Town tonight. It is available on Sky Sports Plus if you aren't at the game, which I'm assuming you're not if you're watching live now. We've got some interesting team news, but before we get into that, as I say, we are taking Northampton where I believe we beat them 4-2 back in 2005 on exactly this day. So I'd take a similar result tonight, to be honest. If it's possible to win the game by a couple of goals, I think would do us the world of good. And as I said in the preview, we're ninth at the table at the moment. It's been a bit of a mixed start to the season. I think that how well we're doing is, I think the fan base is split on it. Like I say, some people think we're doing well, some people think we could be doing better. Some people think that whilst the results have probably been okay where we are in the league has been okay, the performances haven't been up to scratch. And we know that Dave Challoner certainly hasn't been happy with the performances over the last few games, and we spoke about it in the preview as well. Wasn't happy with the performance of the players on Saturday, particularly the midfielders as well. I think he felt quite let down by the ability of the midfielders in the game at the weekend against Charlton. But yeah, interesting team news that he's gone with today as well. Obviously, we're seeing that he's made quite a couple of changes actually. If we go through the team news, Kuriadai does start and goal, of course, but he's gone with Ibi Toure, he's gone with Ethan Pye, and he's gone with Sam Hughes, which I think was the logical solution to Horsfall being suspended. But it looks like it could be a back three tonight because I can't quite work out what the formation is. Looking at the players, so yeah, as I say, we've got Ibi Toure, we've got Sam Hughes, we've got Ethan Pye in that back three, which I think is a back three anyway. It could be a back four, possibly with Callum Connolly coming in. But then we've got Tanto Olafle, of course, starting up front. Jaden Fevrier's in the side, Nick Powell's in the side, Louis Barry's in the side, Odin Bailey starts as well, and Callum Connolly with Lewis Bate as well. So I'm struggling to work out what the midfield is alongside Lewis Bate, who obviously will wear the armband tonight, as he has done all season when he's been available. Unless Callum Camps is playing in midfield alongside Bate, I can't quite work out what that formation is. So let me know what your interpretation of this team news is tonight. But I think Sam Byrne said it as well. Few changes, and you'd imagine a bit of tweak tactically with Sam Hughes in for suspended Fraser Horsfall. That's what he had to say earlier on X in response to the team news which came out. Jay Mingy is also missing through injury, which is a big miss for County. 100%. I think that he's looked really solid in the games we've had him so far this season, but he's already been injured, a few times already. I think he's been out, was it 2 or 3 times? He's already had a few moments where he's been on the sidelines, so that's a bit of a concern because he does seem to have a positive impact on us when he plays, but there's also that question there of, have we bought an injury-prone player here? Because he has already missed a couple of games already this season. I don't want to go too overboard, but there's a slight worry there with Jay Mingy that as good as he is, question marks over his being reliable to play week in, week out. We already have enough issues in that position at right back at the moment with Severn Hales and Kyle Noyle, who always seem to be injured. So we don't want another one with Jay Mingy, and we're getting to the point where if he's injured again, and especially if it's a long-term injury, is the right back position at Stockport County just cursed, completely? I want to get your thoughts on that. Stuart said, I still think 4-2, 3-4-3 maybe. He's saying, yeah, possibly could be. It's just working out who goes in alongside Lewis Bate in that central midfield position. And Nick has said, I'm pleased Mellon is back on the bench and hopefully we'll get some minutes. Yeah, I was going to go to that actually. I've not gone over the bench yet. So on the bench, for those who haven't seen it already, is Hinchliffe, of course, Diamond, Fiorini, Wootton, Mellon, Onyango and Norwood. I think it's a really strong bench from County. But like you say, Mellon is back on that bench and we're yet to see him, or certainly that I'm aware of. I don't think he's come on yet this season for County. So I'm very excited to see what he can offer when he gets his opportunity, and hopefully maybe we'll see a bit of him tonight, which is what Nick's saying. So yeah, it'd be nice to see a bit of Mellon, but it'd be nice, more importantly, above the individuals, to see the team play well and the team to get that confidence up, and the team, as I say, to perform well. We want a big win, we want clean sheets. I said it in the preview, and hopefully we get that tonight. I went with an optimistic 3-0 scoreline. We'll have to wait and see. I think it'll be a difficult one for the back line tonight, when obviously, Horsfall's a big character, a huge personality in that defence. What he offers, not just as a footballer, but as a personality, as a leader, is also going to be a massive miss for us tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how County respond to losing Horsfall. As I say, Ethan Pye comes into this is probably one of our most experienced defenders now with Sam Hughes coming in. Ethan Pye may well just step up and be that leader at the back tonight. We're going to need him to be. So hopefully it'll be interesting to see how he grows into that role tonight, because I do think out of those sort of three defenders we're talking about, he's the one I have the most confidence in. So yeah, and I think the last time he played a game on a Tuesday night, he was on he scored, didn't he, against Shrewsbury. So let's see what Ethan Pye can do tonight. We need him to step up. We need the whole defence to step up in the absence of Fraser Horsfall, who, if I just get my voice back, I thought was harshly sent off at the weekend, actually. Having watched it back, I thought both yellow cards were a little bit silly. The first one for me, where he's blocking the goalkeeper from distributing the ball out quickly, is it a yellow card? It's probably a warning, if I'm being honest. And then the second one, I think it's a harsh one. I think for both the bookings, I think maybe the last one would be a bookable offence, because he's made quite a few silly tackles, maybe a few silly moments in the game that would maybe justify the yellow at the end. But to have 2 yellows and be sent off for that is just ridiculous to me. But hopefully we shouldn't miss him too much tonight. We are luckily playing. I say luckily, we are playing a team which we should really be comfortably beating with where we are in the league and where they are in the league. But then we fought against Leyton Orient, didn't we? So you never know in football. But like I say, if we're going to miss Horsfall for the game, I'd rather miss him tonight than the game against Lincoln at the weekend. I've got to be honest about that. Try and get my voice back again. As I say, I don't usually drink on air, but desperate time has called for desperate measures. And I think, Dave Chownell will be feeling it's almost desperate measures in terms of getting a good performance out of the players tonight. Obviously, we even played a bit of that post-match interview on the channel yesterday, and he was very frustrated with the midfield. So it's interesting that Norwood's dropped out and he's on the bench tonight. Is that the player that he's unhappy with the most out of him and Bate? What I would say is, and I said this, of course there's going to be difficulties in style of play, because out of those two midfielders, they're both new. So there's still that level of trying to build an understanding with the team, how the team wants to play it, what they're going to bring to the team. And I think we're at a point in the season where it's still early. We're still 10 games into a 46-game season. So it is going to take time to adjust. It is going to take time. Like I said, big changes were made in the summer. And we've barely taken baby steps into the season, as it is at the moment. So, I think it's interesting. He's obviously dropped Norwood. Stuart said Norwood is terrible. I think that maybe that's harsh, but he probably hasn't lived up to the hype that he had behind him with that, sort of ex-Premier League, ex-Championship experience behind him. But maybe that's what we should have been fearing at the time. Maybe we should have been, the word is in the X, isn't it? He's not a Championship or Premier League, midfielder anymore. Why is that kind of thing? I think when he came available, we saw it as a bit of a coup signing for County, and I still think on paper it is. But, football isn't played on paper, is it? It's played on grass, and I think that we need to get a bit more out of Norwood, and maybe he does need taking out the limelight. What is he, 33, 34? He could be younger than that, but he feels older in my head for some reason. So maybe we need to be in a situation where we're not playing him so much, and maybe dropping out tonight might be a good thing for him. Maybe he's a player that can maybe play once a week or once every couple of weeks. I'm not too sure, but we've certainly, even when we signed him, we shouldn't have been looking to rely on a player like him coming in. He's a good option for now, but he's not the future. I think Bate is the future, isn't he? At 21, 22. So I think we got to be focusing on the future. These players come in now, but Norwood has been a slight disappointment so far. Stuart said Powell is better. Well, at the moment, Powell's looking decent. From nowhere really to in a couple of weeks now having a bit of an impact in the side and now looking like one of our better players. It goes to show the strength in the squad that we've got available to us, but it also means that Challoner has to trust the players he's got. Powell has been playing well since he's come into the team. We have to ask ourselves why he wasn't in the team earlier than that, because it wasn't always down to injury. So there was something going on there behind the scenes with Powell where maybe, the rumours something had gone on behind the scenes. We can't verify that, but there's been times when he hasn't been injured, when he hasn't been playing. So I'd like to know why that's been the case and what's changed over the last few weeks. But for me, like you say, Nick Powell, he got the penalty as well, didn't he? At the weekend, he's looked good, and I thought he looked good against Wigan as well. So happy to see him back in the starting 11 again. Two starts in a row. Bate is on borrowed time, replaced with Camps. But that's what I said. But someone said to me in the comments yesterday that Camp's injured for a couple of weeks, which was news to me because I've not heard anyone say that. And if that is true, then I think that's massively disappointing because I think that Camps brings so much to this county team, and I think he probably there's a couple of players that maybe go under the radar. You don't really notice them too much, and then when they miss, when they're not involved in the game, you really see, what we're sort of missing. And I think that's probably the case with Camps. I think he's really grown into his role, grown into the team over the last sort of. I always think sort of back end of last season for me. That's when I started to notice, like, Camps is a real good, really good player. So I think he's a big miss for us. And the fact he's not started today, and the fact he's not on the bench today, tells me there's probably some truth in the fact that he probably is going to be injured for some weeks. Wouldn't mind Challoner being asked how long he's injured for post match tonight. That would be a good question for him. And I'd like to have a bit more of an update on the injuries because we don't know what's going on with Noyle, Southern Hale still, Rydell as well. So we've still got to figure out what's happening with those 3 or 4 players. But it's disappointing that Jay Mingy's out 100%. And yeah, what I do want to do is that we've spoken about players that aren't available. We spoke about Norwood not doing well. I want to talk about the positives for a little bit, and I think the positive is that Odin Bailey starts. I think that he looked impressive again, a bit like Nick Powell off the bench against Wigan. Surprised he wasn't involved in the game on at the weekend, but I think Odin Bailey's a good player. Obviously we worked so hard to bring him in during the sort of winter window back in January, and yet he's not really been involved in the team, a bit like Nick Powell so far this season. So happy to see him back in the team. I think he's deserving of his place. I don't think anyone in that sort of wide area position's been putting up any reason for him to not get a look in. So I think it's very, very good signs that he's getting a start tonight, and hopefully he makes the most of it. As I say, him and Lou Barry on either side, it looks like. Jaden Fevrier, where does he fit in? Because if you've got Odin Bailey, is he playing behind the striker? Is he playing out wide? Have we got Fevrier and Barry out wide, or is it a case where Fevrier is potentially playing a right wing back role because we know he can play there? So I think that the the team selection is a little bit confusing, to be honest. But I think we are probably looking at a 3-4-3 kind of formation. We'll have to wait and see. It's one of those where I don't think we'll really be able to get a grasp of it till the game actually kicks off and we see where they line up. And obviously, formations can interchange throughout the game as well. And I'm sure Challoner will look to make changes during the game as well. Nick said Powell seemed keen for tonight. Arrived at Edgeley Park at 4:30 p.m. this afternoon with a big smile on his face. It's a big opportunity for him. And I'm glad you kind of sort of highlighted that, actually, because a lot's been levelled at Nick Powell for not looking interested, not looking bothered. And, as you say there, he's arrived with a smile. He's arrived 3 or 4 hours ahead of kick-off, ready to go. Obviously happy that he's starting the game tonight, and quite rightly so. So, I'd like to see him have a strong performance tonight. And I'm sure he will. I think, he's an experienced player. Even with Norwood, I know Norwood's not had the best of starts over the last sort of month or two at County, but these experienced players know how they know how to handle these kind of games. And I think that Nick Powell has a lot to offer in this team. And another thing as well is, I don't know exactly where on the pitch he's going to play tonight, but we talk about sort of a lack of control in the midfield, during the game at the weekend. That's one thing that I think Nick Powell sort of sums up really well in his performance. He always looks in control. He always looks really calm. He always looks really composed. Those are things that I think, if you ask Challoner, he would probably say we're lacking at the weekend. So to bring him in, do we play him deeper where he can have that control on the game, or are we going to get a bit more of a sort of an attacking display from him tonight, if you get my words out? So that's what I'm excited to see. Like I say, with the team selection and the players that have been selected, I can't quite pinpoint exactly where everyone's going to feature, and I think that they've all got the potential to play in 1 or 2 different positions throughout the game. So maybe that's why he's gone with that as well, because it offers us tactical flexibility during the game as well. We obviously want to impose ourselves early on. We're it's a home game for us. It's the first of 6 or 7 in a row at Edgeley Park. We've got to impose our authority on the game early on. We've got to shut up those fans, those away fans, very early on. And I'm not being horrible here to Northampton, but with where they are in the table, we should be looking at them and saying, look, we're better than you, and we should be showing that early on. So an early goal, I think, would go a long way towards having a really good performance tonight. For those fans as well that are going, they want to see a good performance. the last couple of games, certainly that I've seen, haven't been the most enjoyable. I think back to Wigan, I think back to Barnsley, even Shrewsbury where we won 2-0. It was a professional, performance, but it wasn't a really exciting performance where I thought we played really, really well. It was, enough. We did the job that we had to do on the night. What I want to see tonight is I want to see us, as I say, express ourselves, show that dominance early on, get a goal early on, and not really give Northampton too much of a look in. But they'll have threats as well, and we've got to keep an eye for that. As I say, Cameron McKeehan as well is their top scorer and did score at the weekend as well. So there's a player to look out for as well tonight. But yeah, I am confident we're going to win the game. I'm always optimistic when it comes to County. I'm never really going to predict us to lose the game, apart from the Blackburn Rovers game in the Carabao Cup at the beginning of the season, where it was obvious we were going to lose about 5 days before we even kicked off with the injury problems we had back then. But I think really, as I say, we're at a point in the season, I said it in the preview, it's a time in the season where things should start to beginning to click. We should start to see, okay, this is what the team's looking to do, this is the way we want to play. And I think at the moment, Dave Chalmers is still caught in two minds of what's his best team? Does he know his best team? We made a lot of changes in the summer, as I say, and is it a case where he's not quite sure how to get the best out of all those players now? And I think it is. I think it's a good thing that Tanto Alafi's starting tonight over Cal Wotton for me personally, but we haven't seen the best of Alafi this season. Why has that not happened? Is it because we've changed so many players in the midfield that we don't know, how best to get the ball to him? Is it because maybe the way we want to play now is going away slightly from what we were doing last season? I'm not too sure. I don't think anyone knows the answer to that right now, but I think it's interesting actually because Chalmers said a sort of post-match, if we're not going to be getting the best out of Bate and Norwood in midfield, I might as well play in a 5 at the back and play long balls forward into Tanto. A couple of days later, we're looking at a team which is potentially going to be set up in a 3 or 5 at the back. Norwood's been dropped and Tanto Alafi starts. I'm not suggesting we are going to play hoofball up to, hoofball in behind to Tanto Alafi, or not hoofball, but long balls in behind to Tanto Alafi tonight. I'm not suggesting we don't necessarily are going to play that way, but is he almost saying, you know what, Norwood, Bate, you weren't good enough? And he's probably said, look, Norwood, I can drop you, Bate, you weren't great, but I can't drop you. So that's why he's still playing. But, for me, Tanto Alafi is really important for us, those runs in behind. But it's interesting that he's gone away from Wotton, who he has seemed to prefer so far this season. So I'd love to ask Chalmers that question at the end of the game. What made him go with Tanto over Wotton tonight? And hopefully it'll be a success. I suppose the answer he'll give will be dependent on the result and the performance we get tonight. If it pays off, then he'll look like a genius. If it goes wrong, you'll go, well, why didn't you stick to what you've obviously preferred to do all season? So that's my thoughts on that one. But like I say, I am hopeful. I'm expecting a win. I think we should win the game. I do think we'll win the game. And what I want to see is clean sheets. But as someone quite rightly said as well yesterday, the shake-up in defence means that we probably could be caught out because we're not in a settled defence at the moment. So, put it this way: if we had a solid back four of Mingy, Horsfall, Pye, and Ibe Toure, I'd be saying we should be getting a clean sheet tonight. Because of the change up in the switch round in defence with Horsfall and Mingy both missing, I can kind of say, it's going to be a tricky game to keep a clean sheet because of that, because we've lost that familiarity at the back, if you like. But I still expect us to win the game, and I still expect us to put some goals between us and them. So whether that's a 3-0 defeat, like I said, or it's a 4-1 win, or even just a 2-0, we've got to be putting some distance between us and Northampton. We've got to do that for the confidence of the players, for the excitement of the fans, for the confidence of the fans in the team, and also for the goals difference as well. But also more importantly, we've got to get points on the board as well. So hopefully we do that. Like I say, I want to get people's score predictions in as well. I'm probably getting to the point where I've talked as much as I can at the moment, as my voice is still not quite right. But yeah, it is a good game, and just want to say for anyone who is trying to watch it from home, it is available on Sky Sports Plus, as all the games are in League One tonight. But yeah, I mean, this is the beginning of a 6-7 game run at Edgeley Park for County. It's a good time. What we want to do is make it a fortress in these next couple of games. We've got an opportunity. We know we're going to be playing every game at home. Let's make it our home. And as I say, let's gargle with salt water. This Evian water will do for now. But yeah, I'll be eating afterwards, and that always helps. But yeah, looking forward to the game, as I say. score a couple of goals, try and keep a clean sheet. Don't really don't give them too much opportunity in the game, Northampton. And yeah, I think we come away happy with that. And like Chalna said, the result on Saturday is a good point away from home if you win the game with 3 points tonight at home. So let's see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. It's the beginning of a big run in at home for Stockport County, and hopefully we'll be back here post match with hopefully a couple of goals, hopefully 3 points on the board for Stockport County. As I say, we will be going live at post match, which is I put 9:45, but it could be later, it could be early. It depends on other time. So yeah, just keep an eye on the clock. Keep an eye on when how County's game's going, because as soon as the full time whistle's gone, I'll be live with the post match build up, post match review, and hopefully people warm but not hot water will ease it. Warm but not hot water will ease it. Fair enough. Yeah, well, it's not too warm, it's okay. But yeah, like I say, hopefully people will tune in at the post match live. I keep saying post match build up now. Post match review, post match live. Call it what you want. Hopefully people will be live with that, and hopefully we've got something to be shouting about. Well, maybe not shouting about, but something to look forward to going into what will be a tough game as well at the weekend. So yeah, this is the easiest, the 2 games this week, but it's still going to be a tough test, and hopefully we overcome that. And like I say, I only go with a 3-0 score win. Score prediction for Stockport County, and let's see what happens. But yeah, I just want to say thanks to everyone who's tuned in as well, and don't forget we are going live at post match as well. So hopefully I'll see you guys for that one. But thanks for watching for now.